Welcome to the Imperfect Dads Podcast. This is your host, Devin. We believe dads care deeply about their family and kids, but they don't always have a space to discuss what their life looks like. Our podcast is a space for dads to discuss the ups and downs of fatherhood and how they feel like they're holding it together or how they're not. Thank you for joining us for this episode. This podcast is part of the Never a Face Network. Make sure to follow them on Instagram or go to the website neverafacenetwork.com. On this episode, we have on Ryan Parrish, who you may know from his time in bands like Hopesfall or Celebrity. Ryan is a dad to two daughters that were both adopted and are biological sisters. Ryan shares the very emotional journey of going from never thinking he'd be a dad to going through the adoption process to becoming a dad, and then a couple years later, getting the call that there was a sister on the way. So this is the firsthand experience of all the ups and downs and joy and exhaustion that comes with the adoption process, and also what an open adoption looks like, where you stay in contact with the biological parents. We also talked about formula shortages in 2020, how kids force you to have perspective, how much being a dad means to him, getting laid off from a job, and finding time to get a band back together. At the end of this episode, Ryan mentions a show that his band Celebrity was playing on April 10th at the end. That show did sell out, so I didn't really bump it up in the rotation to help him promote it. But Ryan, congrats on getting the band back together, doing a show, and selling out a show. That's awesome. Just like one more thing.
Dad, just start the episode.
Oh, my bad. So like, I'm here for all the side tangents. I'm here for all the stories because I've also gone to parties where you start telling the story and you're like, there's only one dad in this group. I'm sorry to everyone else, but here's a cute story about my kid. Have fun.
Yeah, and it's just like, especially to people with no kids, I get it. I used to be that guy, so.
I get it. Well, this started out with like a really basic question. How many kids you got, ages, all that good stuff?
Yeah, I have two. I have a 6-year-old who just started kindergarten last semester, I guess, and almost 3-year-old. She'll be 3 on July 4th.
Nice.
So yeah, very busy, and both daughters. And it's worth mentioning too that I'm an adoptive father. We adopted both of them at birth, and they are full biological siblings as well. So
fascinating.
It's a really crazy story. But yeah, they've completely changed my life. I mean, they turn your life upside down in kind of the most beautiful and chaotic way. But yeah, I'm happy to talk more about that. I'm very open as an adoptive parent.
Okay. Yeah, if you could. Okay, so they are siblings. They're from the same biological parents, and you adopted both of them?
Yes.
I've never heard a story like this before. So yeah, please, if you're comfortable telling it, I'm fascinated to know how that came to be.
Yeah, it's a wild story. Kind of go back 10 years really is when this conversation started between me and my wife, Tyne. My wife, her younger sister was adopted. They had a lot of fertility issues. Her parents did. So they adopted Jessie from South Korea. So it's something that is very near and dear to my wife's heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always certainly open to it. I wasn't one of those people that grew up thinking I was going to be a dad. And I don't mean that in the way that it sounds. It just wasn't something that maybe I had written down, on paper of like, this is something that I want to do. I was always open to the idea. And then when I met Tyne, she had a real passion for children. So, I love her to death. And I was like, if this is something we want to do together, I'm more than open to doing it. So yeah, we started the process 10 years ago. We're working with an agency. We had some struggles there.
Mm-hmm.
Namely, agencies traditionally have to kind of be neutral.
Yeah.
Meaning they can't really take a side one way or the other. Makes sense, right? They have to keep the best interest of both parties, both the biological family and the adoptive family. However, the agency we were working with was, I would say they were a faith-based organization. And, I'm an analytical guy and I want answers. And, just basic questions like, were the parents using? Those weren't things that they would really open up to. They wouldn't be very clear about that.
Gotcha.
So yeah, we took a bit of a pivot from the agency and ended up hiring a consultant, but an adoption consultant. Anyway, rewind a little bit. When we first started the process, we had 2 matches. You're matched with a biological family. The first match we found out was kind of gaming the system. Okay.
Yeah.
Which, it's part of the risk of adoption.
Mm-hmm.
I have no ill will towards that parent. They were in survival mode.
Mm-hmm.
But we found out, and so that was a failed placement. We were matched with another mother who was in jail,
Mm-hmm.
which sounds dark, and it is, but there's also pluses to that because they can't use in jail.
Yeah.
They're being fed. I know that sounds crazy to maybe some of the listeners, but we can get into this too. The disparity of economics in America is vast, and I don't think a lot of people understand maybe the depth that, it affects some people. That was also a failed placement. She got out, and good for her, and basically lost contact. So after those two failed placements, I was pretty emotionally wrecked, for lack of a better way of saying it. And I really kind of hit a point in my life where I was like, I don't know if I can continue doing this. Just emotionally, it was just so heavy. And adoption is such a beautiful but tragic thing at the same time. There's a dichotomy there. And also, too, it's very invasive for adoptive parents, because it's very stringent, and it has to be. I mean, they come in, they walk through your house, they look through your closets, you go through an FBI check, you spend a year.
Every stone is turned.
Yeah, you spend a year doing a home study. I mean, they ask you questions like, how's your sex life? I mean, it's so invasive, right?
Yeah.
And I'm a pretty private guy. So I went to Tyne and I was just like, I don't know how to proceed here. And through a stroke of luck, Tyne was on Facebook one day, and she had a colleague in New York. And one day the colleague had a photo with a baby, and to message her, and he's like, hey, I don't mean to be forward, but can you tell me about your child? Because she knew that she wasn't pregnant. And she's like, oh, well, I'm a single woman and I just decided to adopt. You have to talk to this consultant that I used. So Tyne set up a call with the consultant and came to me, and she's like, you're either going to love her or you're going to hate her. And she's like, I don't know which. And she's like, would you be willing to hop on a call with her? And I said, absolutely.
Yeah.
Hopped on a call with her and loved her immediately. Very direct, very forward. Exactly what someone like me needs, like lays all the facts out and says, here you go, which we weren't getting from the agency that we hired. So we hired her, and she works in several adoption-friendly states. Each state has different laws around adoption. How long the window of revocation is, which is the baby's placed in your arms. Some states, there's a 30-day window of when the biological family could change their mind. Rightfully so, right? Rightfully so. But she worked in states where that window was shorter, which was another thing for me that felt good as an adoptive parent. So we had a match, and it was twins. And we were in the middle of renovating this house, and we're living in my sister's basically attic. And we had to go to her and say, hey, not now. And she was not happy about that. But, I wasn't ready for two.
Yeah.
And I couldn't bring a kid into a renovation that was incomplete, two kids into that.
Yeah.
So she was like, she expressed her displeasure with that. And then was like, hey, the next time the phone rings, there is a baby. She's like, there's going to be no runway. There's no 6-month lead up. You'll see my name on your caller ID. You will know that there is a baby, and that baby is waiting on you. And that's exactly what happened.
Nice. Yeah.
And that story's wild too. To kind of condense it, Tyne was very close with her maternal grandparents, specifically her grandfather. He was in his late 90s. We got the call that he was passing away. My wife's originally from Michigan, the Ann Arbor area, and that's where her grandparents were. I went to work on a Monday. The phone rang. It was Tyne. She's like, Carl's going to pass. We got to go. And I said, great, let's get packed up. Let's go. Packed the car, started driving to Michigan. It's about an 8.5-hour drive from Nashville. We're in Cincinnati, so about halfway. And guess what happens? The phone rings.
You get a phone call? Of course you do.
And it's our consultant. And she's like,
Yeah.
there's a baby girl. The family has chosen you. Can you be here tonight? And to where
What?
it's worth mentioning where it was.
Yeah.
Shreveport, Louisiana, which is northwest Louisiana on the border of Texas.
Yeah.
The complete opposite direction of Michigan.
Not close to Michigan.
At all. And Tyne just starts crying. You know, she's on the phone. I'm driving, you know, just white knuckle.
Dude, no.
You know?
Yeah.
And she's like, I have to talk to Ryan, and like hangs up the phone, tells me the story. I was like, well, we can't be there tonight. There's no physical way. If you want to say goodbye to your grandfather, we don't have the time to do that.
Yeah.
We need to call her back and explain the situation. So we did. And she's like, okay, well, let me go talk to the biological family.
Mm-hmm.
Well, apparently, you know, the biological family, that story spoke to them because the biological mother was close with a grandparent.
Okay.
And they said, we're willing to wait, but how soon can you get here?
Man.
So we finished the drive to Michigan.
Yeah.
We spent the time with Carl. I'll never forget this. We walked in the room, and one of the first things he said to us was, what are you doing here? Go get your daughter. You know?
Yeah.
It's very emotional.
Absolutely.
So yeah, we spent that time with Carl, went to sleep, woke up the next morning and drove all the way back to Nashville. Got to Nashville. We have a dog, no one to take care of the dog. So we called my in-laws and we're like, can you come take care of our dog? We've got to wake up the next morning and drive to Shreveport.
Mm-hmm.
So we packed our stuff. You know, we had a basically go bag for the adoption because we knew it could happen at any moment, right?
Yep.
We packed our stuff up, went to bed that night in our house, woke up the next morning and drove 9 hours to Shreveport. And that's how it all played out.
Dude.
You know, we pulled into Shreveport. It was probably about 5:30. This would have been November of 2019. And pulled into the hospital parking lot and walked across the street and met our attorney in the hallway, and he kind of explained how it was going to go. And we went up the elevator and walked into the room, and there was the biological parents holding her. And, you know, it was, you know.
If I can interrupt you for a second, what was that drive like? The drive from Nashville to Shreveport? Like, were you guys like, that's 9 hours in a car, you guys just both being like, okay, all right, like I've talked to people of Don Foster and then adopted, and the whole process of, is this real? Is this really our life? It seems like a constant question of trying to buy into a life that you want with the full knowledge you have limited control and it might be taken away if the biological parent says, by the way, I don't want any of this. Yeah. What was that drive like?
I mean, out of body experience, kind of.
Yeah.
Really, you know. Again, touched on, I'm hyper analytical person. So my mind was racing the whole drive. I was operating on very little sleep. You know, we're about an hour outside of Shreveport, and I kind of looked at Tyne. I was like, I guess we should start thinking about names.
Yeah.
You know, and we just like started kind of going through a short list of names that kind of appealed to us. And I was like, I feel like I kind of need to see her, you know, before I name her. But yeah, there was a lot of silence.
Yeah, that's realistic.
Because, I mean, you know, man, like, it's no different if you're adoptive or a biological parent. Like, the drive to the hospital was probably very similar for you and for all the other dads out there listening. You know, like, you know, you're driving into this thing where your life is going to be totally different. And I can't think of another experience in my life that has ever felt that way. Like, you know, your life is changing, you know, to a level that you can't even comprehend. But I think on a metaphysical, like, core level, you understand, like, this is real, this is happening, and I just have to embrace it. So I think all that was just kind of swirling through my head. And, you know, like, then I was like concerned about the awkwardness of the moment before it happened. And, you know, really kind of the way I explained that, it was like there was just an acceptance of the moment when I walked into that room, and kind of a respect that I had to kind of bring into the room of like, this is life altering for me. and this is life altering for them. And carrying both of those kind of emotional states. But yeah, man, it was just this beautiful moment. And for me and for Tyne, and I'll never forget, they said, well, do you want to hold her? And for whatever reason, my memory of it is she gave her to me first.
Yeah.
And I just remember looking down and just, that was it.
Yeah.
That was it,
Yeah.
and, then we had some exchanges with them, and then they asked if they could walk us down to the car. Sorry.
No, man, it's a bit like
It's very, it's very emotional, but
it's very emotional. I have lots of thoughts for you. Also, I'll give you a second to just to kind of
yeah,
I'm gonna speak for a little bit. I mean, also though, man, your journey for this entire thing is such a big one. It's not a casual thing at all. You went from not ever thinking you'd be a dad to thinking, hey, maybe I do want to be a dad, dealing with the extreme disappointment of 2 failures that didn't work out the way they did, going through the extreme whiplash of losing someone in your family who's clearly positively influenced your partner and wife for her existence, to lose him, have him look at you and be like, the journey you're about to be on is more important than this.
yes.
And then to arrive to acknowledge at the same time the respect of the people who are handing you a child are ending a chapter in their life so you can start your own.
Exactly.
What the that's not casual.
No, and
Yeah.
I'm built for intensity. I'm
right.
I'm an intense person.
Yeah.
But even that moment, just I don't know what I believe about the universe. I was raised evangelical. I don't know where I stand on any of that anymore. But if there is something else out there, that moment was proof of that for me. It was, because I didn't grow up around kids. I grew up in a small family. There weren't little kids running around. I had never changed a diaper. I'd never fed a baby. I'd never put a kid in a car seat. Tyne had, she nannied, all growing up. But for me, this was all new.
Yeah. And you care. That's also another thing is you were going to you're sitting there I need to take this seriously. I need to know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
And so there's also that whole question of that I don't think men talk about enough is you care a ton and you have no idea how you're going to show up. You want to show up and you want to be good at this, but you have no idea what the hell that looks like. And there's a real fear and insecurity that comes with it.
100%. And that, honestly, that's been kind of the headline of parenthood for me is I don't want to mess this up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
What baggage am I bringing into my children's lives?
Yep.
Anyway, I don't know where I'm going with that. But again, to kind of go back to that moment, it was just it was a God universe moment for me. And it's worth mentioning too, we have a fully open adoption. And it was very important for Tyne and I to get to know them and who they are as people. And we've been able to do that, which has been really great.
Yeah.
But yeah, kind of rewinding a little bit, Tyne and I were only planning on adopting one child. And, when we adopted Remy, we're good, right? That's kind of where we were at. We're older parents, I'm not a young man. And so, yeah, we adopted Remy and we were going about our lives. And again, we have an open adoption and we keep in touch with the family. We share photos, videos, we write each other, which is awesome. It's exactly what we wanted, But yeah, I mean, we're cruising through COVID, we had Remy for 3 months and then we locked down and, did that whole thing and survived it. And it was actually kind of really special because I got to be with Remy every day and got to see every milestone, which a lot of parents don't get to do. But yeah, one night a couple years later, we're decompressing after Remy went to bed and just kind of laying in the living room. And Tyne just looks at me kind of white as a sheet. And I'm like, what's up? She just turns her phone to me and she had Facebook open and we're friends on Facebook with the family. And I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exactly what it said, but it was something along the lines of, are you ready for number 2? That's it. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. Right.
Yeah.
And Tyne's freaking out, which generally I'm the one in the relationship that's a little more nervous.
Sure,
She's a little more even. and the roles reversed for whatever reason. And she's just like, oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
And they provided proof of pregnancy, and,
You started the new journey. You started the next chapter.
and it's so funny because my overly analytical self traditionally, like, let's just use Remy as the example. I was just so in my head about it. But
Mm-hmm.
when we found out about her sister, it was just like, well, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, it was
Yeah.
so strange that my brain, and as a dad, you're signing up for so much.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I was like, of course.
Yeah.
So we started the communication, and we knew that she was due in July, and we made a plan, and she was like, look, if the baby doesn't come, they're going to induce me on July 3rd, and
Yeah.
July 2nd came around, and we packed our car again and drove to Shreveport with Remy in the back.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very different experience
Yes.
the second time around because we knew them and there was familiarity, and it was
Yeah.
like seeing family again and embracing each other and
Yeah.
being with each other in the hospital for 3 days. She was born on the 4th of July, and I have this vivid memory of, like, we had rented an Airbnb the second time because we got smart. The first time we were in a hotel room for a month with Remy, because we couldn't cross
Yeah.
state lines for a month.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
It's illegal to do so. They have to do all
Mm-hmm.
the paperwork and everything. So we were in a tiny hotel, but this time we thought ahead and got an Airbnb and had some space. And I'll never forget laying down that night knowing she was getting induced and fireworks were just going off all
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, this is surreal. This is like,
That's cool.
it's like a movie moment, So yeah, I woke up the next morning to Tyne, like, right here, saying the baby's here, and I was like, okay. And we
Let's go.
rushed over to the hospital and met her, and then couldn't name her for 3 days. We really struggled with naming her, and then
Mm-hmm.
we named her Glory, kind of a nod to the 4th of July and Old Glory, and
Yeah.
even kind of just the whole story, like how beautiful it all is,
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, and then we brought Glory home, and they're happy and healthy and crazy as ever,
Dude, I
full of energy.
when you have your second kid, it does, like, the nerves you have for the first are drastically, like, they're different. Because first we're like, oh, what's going on? How does this turn out? Like, the nerves for the first one are insane, intense, and, like, a lot of anxiety. The second one, they're still there, but they are definitely, you're like, okay, I can do this. Like, because number one, you're like, what the F did I just sign up for? Who do
Yeah.
I think I am? The second one, you still feel that, but with like some confidence to it. So I love that even with having the second adoptive daughter, you were still like, okay, we're just going to make some tweaks already, so this is better because we're on one. Man, now I'm aware of what I didn't know to an extreme extent.
Yeah, that's exactly how I felt. It's like, I know how to do this.
Yeah.
Know how.
Ish. Yeah.
But, the stages, the phases, which for me, like, again, being in my head, like, is so helpful. It's like, okay, well, I know that this phase is 6 months, right? And then this next phase might be 4 months. And just knowing what to prepare for me goes so far. I'm such a planner.
Yep.
But yeah, it's been beautiful, man. Like, my biggest fear was like, will they get along, or will it disrupt our flow as a family? And Remy has just taken to being a big sister.
That's awesome.
And Glory is just a different energy than Remy entirely. And they offset each other in a really cool way. And yeah, we feel very lucky, man. And, like, biological or adoptive parent, it's all the same in a lot of ways. I mean, there are some complexities of being an adoptive parent, but the day-to-day is the same, right? It's, you're doing all the things you got to do. And the girls were very open with them in age-appropriate ways. They know their story, and we don't hide anything from them.
Yeah.
When strangers approach us, which happens because Tyne and I are both dark-headed and dark eyes, and our girls are blonde and blue-eyed, they're like, well, where does that come from? When appropriate, depending on the venue, I'll just be open, hey, well, this is our story. And sometimes people kind of get nervous, and I'm like, no, there's no reason to be nervous, or it's just how we grew our family.
Yeah. And this is reality. But I could also understand judging the moment, which I mean, like adopted kids are not, when strangers ask you questions and you're like, there's actually a really long story here and I might never see you again.
Yeah.
So what's the polite, you're just being curious. So what's the polite answer here that's truthful, but also I'm never going to see you again?
Yep.
What do I do with
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. I'm a pretty honest guy. Like, I feel like just being honest and within reason,
Yeah. Okay, so I've got it. So I'm remembering. So you would have had to, I'm assuming, formula feed both your kids, correct? So during COVID, there's quite a formula shortage. How do you remember what that phase of life was like for you guys at all? Because I remember we had a kid in 2021,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
my wife was able to breastfeed all three of her kids, and I remember being like thanking her consistently, like, "Hey, thank you for this is a ton of work. Thank you
Yes.
for doing this," because our other friends who had kids at the same time were anxious, constantly calling their family in other states, trying to ship formula to them. Do you remember what that phase of life was like at all for you guys?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it was very panicky. Times a plan or two.
Yeah.
She thought ahead. We were okay. Knowing that some people weren't was a really weird feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Again, that kind of goes back to that economics thing I brought up earlier about families in America. But we prepared. We were okay. I think we were more nervous about how long is this going to last when we didn't know.
Yep.
But we had a friend who had a child amidst all of that, and they were having trouble breastfeeding
Mm-hmm.
and put a Facebook post up about being short on formula. And luckily, we had enough that we were able to donate to them and just give it to them. So we ended up being
Yeah.
okay. But,
Cool.
you know, I know a lot of families weren't.
Yeah. It's a unique anxiety to remember because my friend Justin, who I used to do this podcast with, they formula fed. And like, yeah, he would be calling his family in Cincinnati and Kentucky, being like, can you guys just go to any grocery store near you? Like, and it's just this constant inventory while you're already exhausted and just
Yes.
it was a fast for multiple reasons. 2020 to 2022 was a really interesting time in life. But to add the formula shortage to it also, whenever you're already entering into a new identity and existence, it's like, oh, come on. Like, I don't need this too.
Yeah. I mean, it was trial by fire. That's kind of how I
Mhm.
feel. That whole window of time when we
Yeah.
adopted Remy to COVID, it was like, it felt like we
Yep.
were being tested in some way. I know that sounds
Yeah.
kind of cheesy or maybe a little loaded, but, we got through it. And
Yeah.
again, I'm grateful that I had that time. I
Yeah.
will look back
Totally.
on that time with anxiety, but also like a precious
Hmm.
just being with her every day. I mean, I saw her take her first step. That wouldn't have
Ah, that's so
happened.
cool.
That
That's so
wouldn't have
cool.
happened. I
Yeah.
would have been at
Yep.
work.
Yep. And honestly, that's what I think one of the main things that being a dad immediately forces you to recognize is this constant holding of two emotions at the same time. Is you do
Always.
have to look back and be like, oh my gosh, it's so sweet. I got to watch her do her first step. But also in the back of my head, I was constantly worried about if we get a disease and die.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I mean, like when I explain parenthood to like people that may be thinking about it or they're on the fence or
Yeah.
I always say it's a marriage of contrasts. It's
Hmm.
like it's
Yeah.
like deep beauty, like this beauty that like at least for me I had never experienced
Hmm.
while simultaneously holding deep frustration, right?
Hmm.
When you're in that moment and they won't put their shoes on or whatever.
Yep.
They're mad at you because you gave them the blue plate instead of the red plate or whatever. So, but
You
I
gave them
feel
the red plate?
yeah, it's like how dare I offer you the red plate? But
How dare you, man?
from where I sit, and like anything good in life, truly good, you have to exist with both things, right?
Yeah.
Anything, like anything worth its merit is going to have deep beauty and deep frustration or whatever emotion you're going through at that time. And, I
Hmm.
think being a dad has made me a more intentional person.
Hmm.
And they're teaching me, oftentimes I feel like they're teaching me more than I am them.
Hmm.
And that wasn't something I expected walking into the role. I don't know. It's just, they have a way of just like bringing you back down to earth and someone that can get locked in his head.
Yeah.
It's so good for me, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think the beauty of a child is their just constant mental presence. And as an adult, holy shit, is that hard. And so, so to be with your kid who like literally, yeah, my 4 and 8-year-old are like, will like spend 20 minutes watching Bubbles. And I'm like, after 30 seconds, I'm done. And I'm like,
Yes.
no, man, like, stop it. Like, just stop where your head is. Stop traveling somewhere else in your mind. Like, be here. Your 4 and 8-year-old are currently in your backyard. It's a beautiful day. They're blowing bubbles and giggling. What else do you need?
Mm-hmm.
What else is so damn important? And
Dude.
that doesn't get easier. But
No.
it is a constant reminder of like, and I hate all the cliches that are so accurate of like, oh man, like they're only young ones. It's the present is the gift. And you're like, but it is. And
But it
I
is.
wish it is.
I don't like cliches either, but like it's 100% true. And
Yeah.
if you are a thinker, children will challenge that, and they'll hold a mirror up to you and say, look at, they're not saying that, but that's what's happening. It's like, oh,
Mm-hmm.
I'm so concerned about the state of the world and doing this.
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah.
they don't care.
No, they don't.
They're like, are you here with me kicking this ball right now? That's what
Yeah.
they
Correct.
care about. And
Yeah.
that's been so healthy for me as a person, and, this is a great example of this. I lost my job in January, financial cutbacks out of my control, whatever. It is what it is. And, Remy noticed that I was home a lot. She's like, Dad, are you working from home all the time now? And I was like, well, this is a window, right? That she opened the door.
Yeah.
And, I shared it with her in age appropriate way. Like, hey,
Mm.
listen, my job went away, and I could kind of see her wheels turning. And it was such a cool moment. She just goes, well, you can get another job, right? And I'm like, well, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
like,
Sure
that's
could.
how, I'm so locked into like, I got to update my resume. I got to get blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
and it's just like, she just like brought it back down to just, well, you can get another job.
Yeah. There's other chances out there for you.
And it's like, it's such a, for me, like, again, like, it's just such a centering thing. And it was like,
Yeah.
that she's right. That's exactly right. Why am I in my head about this?
Mm-hmm.
It will work itself out.
It will. It will. But also, like, whenever you hold that responsibility and that weight, like, I'm also an analytical person who's looking for the next action step, basically. So, yeah. So it is very much like, okay, how do I update the resume? What context do I have? Do I want to stay in this field? And you're going through this identity crisis, and then your kid is like, yeah, you'll figure it out. And you're like, but if I don't, how do we eat? And they're like, no, we'll figure that out too. And you're like, it's too simple. It's too simple of an answer. Where's my complexity I just created in my own head? Come on.
Yeah. But I mean, the central truth is there. She's right.
It's true. She's not wrong. That's what sucks.
She's not wrong. And
yeah,
for me, it's great. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. It is because it does. I think I think it's fascinating as I get older to realize what tethers me to reality and what I choose to allow to tether me to reality. And that is, it should be family. And I'm grateful that it is family.
I feel the same way. I mean, there's something so grounding about being a parent. It's like, I don't remember who I was listening to. I was probably an audiobook or something on parenting, but
yeah,
you occupy so many roles as an adult. And to some extent we're putting on hats and performing but I'll always be their dad. That is unending, and your marriage can end, your job can end, your friendships can end, but I will always be their dad. And there's something so I don't even know how to put it. It's just like, it's so affirming in a way. It's like, well, I mean, I guess I could stop being a dad, but then I would be a big piece of shit, right? And I don't want to be that kind of guy.
You do have the option to not be a father.
You do have the option.
But you are still their father. So that's whereas like you can stop being a husband. Right. You can become an ex-husband. I don't think you can become an ex-dad. You just become a piece of shit dad.
Yeah, you just become a deadbeat dad. Yeah, and I'm not on that track. I'm not going to do that. But I don't know. There's just something so cool about that, and knowing that is, again, I get kind of like in my head about where I'm going or what I'm doing or what's the next record going to sound like or whatever. And it's just like, no, this is my purpose.
Yeah.
Is to shepherd these children and to be kind of a tour guide. Honestly, it's like,
Yeah.
you know, while also recognizing they're sentient and they have their own thoughts and feelings and their own orientation to the
Yeah.
world, and to not get in the way of that too.
Yeah.
I think that's an
Yep.
important thing as a dad. I don't want to like try to imprint. I want to instruct, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
They're already in there. You know what I mean? Who they are, they're
Yeah.
already in there, and I want them to flourish and to discover those things that excite them and ignite them, bring joy. And, I'm less interested in trying to shape them. I'm more interested in like letting them grow. And who are you really? I find myself asking a lot of questions to my kids. And I think that's just because of how I grew up. Again, being evangelical, there's always an answer for everything. And I think oftentimes my kids just say, "What do you think?"
Yeah. Pretty much. Well, because the way I view it is like, I already know what I think about it. And I know once I say that, I've already muddied the water for what they're going to say. And honestly, I already know what I think. And I'm tired of knowing what I think.
I would like a switch to turn that off sometimes. Thank you.
I'm filled with opinions. I'm filled with thoughts. And so like, I think my hope is always to have an idea of what my integrity is and live within it, and to be aware of the ways in which I'm building my own ego and try to limit those opportunities, or at least call it what it is.
Yes.
Because if you ask your kid a question, like I'd rather want to know what you want out of the situation, because I can direct this whole thing. I can steamroll the hell out of this entire relationship. I know how to do that. I really don't want, that's not a relationship. And I think one thing that's fascinating to me doing this podcast is hearing so many dads who have that same sentimentality to them, is they don't want to be like, you have to be a doctor to be successful. You have to be a lawyer to be successful. More just try to lay out the facts. Like, what do I want to be? Well, hey, if you want, like, if you have an interest, like my middle child has a lot of interest in being a vet out here in Colorado. Colorado State has this huge like structure up north where they have like a fake vet clinic where they do operations in it, and they have
That's
like
awesome.
real life operations where the students practice. It's called CSU Spur. And they also like have a fake vet room where they have stuffed animals and they have a list of what's wrong, and they walk through the process of how you fix it and everything. So for my daughter, I'm like, hey, if this is an interest to you, I want to explain to you what this world looks like so that you understand what you're getting into. But like, if you're a vet or not, doesn't dictate my love for you. Doesn't dictate my support for you.
Bingo.
So I think that is like the most fascinating balance that I feel like a lot more dads of our age are figuring out is, I'm not going to make you be a vet, but if you're interested in it, I'm going to be your advocate and your researcher so that you can know what this reality looks like, and hopefully know you well enough in which if it doesn't seem like it's you, I can help steer you in a different direction.
Exactly, man. And, I often think about that with like the music thing for me is like, I pursued that very heavily in my days. And if they were to show interest in that, I could give them a real accurate picture of that, and it's not to prevent them from doing it. But like you said, it's like, well, here's an accurate picture of what that could look like.
Yep.
If that's what you want to pursue, go for it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just trying to guide without getting in the way. It's so tricky.
It's so tricky, man. Or without putting your thumb on the scale too much.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I like to control things, and
Same.
it's a real battle, and
Yep.
I think that's why I read a lot about it. And I do think this generation of dads, I don't want to say we're different, but the studies do show that, I mean, I saw some crazy statistic that like, 2 generations ago, like the amount of men that changed diapers was like in the like 20 to 30%. And now it's like completely flipped. And to me, that's just a radical idea. Like, how could you not change your child? Like,
Yeah. There's the guys from the Lone Bellow were on, and I'll never forget their story. One of them, I think it was, I forget who was in the band, but they're saying how like their grandpa, there was one time in which maybe a baby had a soiled diaper, and instead of changing it, they drove to where their wife was so their wife could change their diaper, because they literally felt such a lack of responsibility, or I guess the nicer way to put it, the cultural norm at the time was so foreign for men to change a diaper. That's what the correct step for him to do was.
oh, yeah.
And that's insane to me, because in my head, I'm like, all right, if my kid has a need, my job, my role, the way I love my family the best, how do I meet this need? And how do I give more of myself so that I also meet that need? Because having your wife do it, that is an answer. That's correct. Why can't you?
Yeah.
Is that an offensive question? It shouldn't be an offensive question.
No. I totally track that.
Like,
yeah. But I think, I don't know. I'm very interested in this topic in particular of just like modern masculinity and how men are showing up as nurturers, and I hope that we see the fruit of that labor in generations to come, of men being more in touch with that part of themselves, which we all have.
Yes.
I'm sure there's some alpha podcast bro out there that would disagree, but
I doubt he listens to this podcast.
He probably does not listen to this podcast. But I don't know. That's been a part of my journey too with the kids, is just like tapping more into that part of myself. Because I'm such a doer and a like, all right, we're getting this done, and blah, 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 and leaning into that nurturing side has been good for me.
Yeah. I genuinely believe once you tell someone how their love can make an impact, they will explore it more and they will lean into it. I think for the longest time, men have been told and shown that financial support for their family is the best way for them to show love. And I think we have been able to expand that conversation to actually your physical presence, actually your mental presence, actually you being around is the best way for you to show love. And I think culture plays a massive part into it. Of if everyone tells you this is how you love your family the best, that's what you think the best way to love your family is. And so you just try to expand the definition in what ways you can. And I think it's beautiful to see so many dads realize that their love matters. Because I think for the longest time, they thought their work is what made their love show. And it is a beautiful way to show that you love your family. But to show that your physical presence, your words is actually a way to show love that has a great impact also is hell yeah.
Yeah. I mean, kids, all they want is presents, man. That's it.
Yep.
And not presents like gifts, but like
presents, like C.
My slight Southern accent might not enunciate that
your
very
presents.
well, but just being with them, and I go so far. And I think in moments where I've maybe feel like I botched the day with my kid, I come back to that. I'm like, well, was I present? Was I with them? Was I?
Yep.
There are going to be moments where we lose our patience. It's inevitable. We're human, but I think just continuing to show up for them goes so far.
Yeah.
And I think that's just what I try to do as a dad, but.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. Cause it is like, if I'm ever annoyed with my kids during an entire day, my first thought is like, so where are you mentally then? Because that's the first question I should ask. And there are times in which your kids are just at each other's throats the entire day. They aren't getting along. It's not a good day for them. So that's like, I'm not saying it's all on you because that's not a realistic interpretation. But normally that's my first thought. I was like, okay, cool. How eager am I to look at my phone? How eager am I to be in a different room? How eager am I to put on a record? And then I'm like, oh, cool. All of that is what my energy is today. That's why you don't like your kids today. It's because you need to. And sometimes it is looking at your wife and be like, hey, I need to go on a run. I need to go on a walk. I just need to get out of here for at least an hour or so. And then I know then everything will be better. But like, that's whenever I am done with my kids. It's like, can I just be anywhere else? And it's like, that can be corrected. And it's honest. Those moments happen. But that's why that's why you aren't a fan right now of anything.
But I mean, again, I think it's important to keep in mind, like I've been there, that exact place that you're talking about. It's okay to feel that way too.
It is,
right?
Yes,
and I think that's a guilt thing that a lot of parents feel, is like, why do I want to be so far away from this moment right now?
Yeah.
It's because you're a human being, and kids will take and take and take. And I don't mean that in the way that it sounds. That's what they're designed to do. But you also have needs. You also need time to not be overstimulated, time to kind of recenter. And that's been an important lesson for me too, is like, sometimes, Tyne, I need 15.
Yeah.
I need 15. I'm at my limit right now, and vice versa with her. It's like, can you take the kids outside? I know what that means.
Yes.
Okay. I'll take them outside. So I think holding both of those, like, I can love my kids more than anything on the planet, and I can also need to be away from them for a little while. Those are both okay to hold, and not to beat yourself up about it as a parent, because it is important to show up when possible as the best version of yourself for them. And sometimes the best version of yourself needs that run.
Yeah.
Or needs to go play guitar. or whatever it might be.
Yeah. The other way I've known how to describe it is, I really think it's fascinating to think of all of this through like the lens of identity. And I think whenever all of your identity is in like one thing, you just need to be aware of other versions of yourself. So like if I've done a whole week with the kids, as if it's summertime and I'm at home with all three of my kids, like I absolutely need to make sure I'm exploring the other parts of my identity. Because I think if I put it's like, oh, I'm someone who plays guitar. If that's all I think I am, well, yeah, that's going to have failures. You're going to notice all the holes and stuff like that. You're more than just someone who plays guitar. You're more than just someone who's a dad. So to me, it's almost like you need to step away and remember like how much more you are than just this version of yourself. So that way you can come back, so you can feed the rest. I don't know the best philosophical way to put it.
No, dude,
But I think when my headspace gets too much like, this is all I am, then I don't like that. Then I don't like that. Then I'm going to beat that person to shit. I'm going to find all the holes in that person. It's like, no, man, you're not looking at the full picture. You're too hyper-focused. You're too whatever. And you need to come up for air because you are thinking this is all you are. And that's just not true.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we contain multitudes, another cliche, right?
We do.
Yeah,
right.
But I think that's what this season I'm going through right now with being unemployed is about. It's like, who am I outside of that? And I've been trying to explore that and give that space of like, who am I when I'm not producing something?
Yes. Yeah.
Which is
especially
literally
in
my
American,
job title.
Yeah.
I'm a producer. I make video and content for a living. I'm lucky that I've been able to be creative professionally, and get paid to do it. But who am I when I'm not doing that?
Yeah. Especially in a Western society in which what can you produce? All of that is like, I freaking make a podcast that makes no money. And there's definitely parts of me that are like, if you are successful, you make money at this. And it's like, well, now I have to redefine what success is because that's what culture has told me success is. And if I live into that definition will constantly change to whatever I'm not doing.
Yeah. It's the same thing with my music thing, It's like, people that don't know the ins and outs of that would be, well, you've been successful at it. You've worked with your heroes and you've been on tour and you've made records. And it's like, well, define success. 20-year-old me would have said I wasn't successful. 47-year-old me very much feels that I've been successful at it. I've still been able to do it and make it a part of my life and still be creative. And so that's been fun right now with, this season of unemployment is like leaning back into that a little bit and being more creative and playing my guitar more often because I have the time to do it, which has been really life-giving. And it's been cool to see my kids respond to that too of like, oh, my band's gotten back together.
Yeah.
Another cliche.
Yeah, right. Is it when's it become a midlife crisis?
Exactly.
When's it go to that territory?
There's always that critical voice in my head that's like, dude, what are you trying to prove, man? But like, I'm not trying to prove anything. I love doing it.
Yeah.
That's the reward at middle age is like just being in a room with my friends. And it's been cool to see my kids respond to that too. Like see that energy that I'm, Remy's really fascinated by it.
Yeah.
Wants a microphone now, so
that's so cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's something that like, I know my wife and I talk about a lot is, like your kids do want to see you inspired. Like your kids want to see you inspired by the life that you're leading because it then opens up the door for them to know that can be part of it. And I think a lot of us were raised with parents who they just went to work. Work was what they did. They went to work so they could support the family. They found joy in everyday life. But like the ability to find joy in a career or hobbies and stuff like that. I think most men our age are like, what were my dad's hobbies? My dad plays a lot of golf now. But like, did he have hobbies whenever I was growing up? No, I think he worked 70 hours a week to provide for the family.
Yeah.
I'm very focused on making sure to have hobbies. And I think a lot of dads our age are also, so they can, I don't know, show more range to their kids and honestly, to know for themselves that they have more range than them.
Yeah. You're exactly right. Like your kids seeing what you're interested in directly impacts their ability to kind of pursue their own interests.
Correct. Yes.
You know, and Remy is showing this desire to perform strangely, which I'm like, we don't share DNA. So it's not it's not baked in your DNA to do that. But maybe through proximity of seeing me perform, I don't know, that could have planted a seed. And I'm happy to nurture that if that's a road she wants to walk down. But I also am not going to force her down that road either. I'm not interested in saying you should be interested in this because I am,
Yeah. Which is an interesting, because I play guitar. We have like a piano and mandolin and all that. And I just leave it out. So if the kids want to play it, they can. And then whenever they do it, like for a couple of days in a row, I'm like, do you have any interest in like taking lessons or like anything like that? And if they say no, I'm like, just so you know, I think that's a interesting part of parenting is figuring out when to like to let them form their identity and nudge at the same time. And whenever like, yeah, my oldest seems to, she's very type A, firstborn, likes rules, likes organization. I'm like, oh, you would love piano. Like you would love like the following of form. You would love all of this and it'd be beautiful. And like, I think you would love this. She also loves like sewing and fashion and stuff. But then
so
I'm like,
cool,
well,
man.
I'm not going to, like, sewing seems to be the thing she seems to be more naturally gravitating towards. So I'd rather invest in that. But also, piano's here if you want it, just so you know.
We're doing the same thing, Devin. It's, like when you see that door crack open, it's like, okay, well, now's the time to have this conversation, see how it lands.
Yeah.
And then if it does land, then we sign you up for theater, which is what we've done for Remy, and she's loving it.
That's awesome. Yeah.
So she wants to be on stage. She's like, I want to be on stage. It's like, all right, we can make that happen for you.
Yeah. That's why we did that for it's interesting though, because like our middle child, I know is very theater type of child. But anytime we tell her like, there's like a little performing arts center in downtown Littleton where I live. And I was like, hey, just, they're doing summer camps. Here's what the summer camp would include. And she was like, no. And I'm like, that's another part of parenting that I feel like it's under discussed.
Yes.
As you try to listen to your kids' like interest and all, and you're like, hey, here's an opportunity for you to explore this. And they're like, I don't care about that. And you're like, I would like that hour back. Thank you.
Yeah, the shifting sand. The shifting sand of what they're interested in day to day. It's like, Frozen is my favorite movie, and then I asked her a day later, and she's like, I don't like that anymore. It's like, okay, all right,
okay, that's cool. I totally didn't learn Into the Unknown on guitar. That's fine. I didn't.
I totally didn't spend 2 hours one night after you went to bed learning Let It Go.
I didn't. Not at all. No, I didn't learn the piano part for any of this, and that's fine. And I'm not offended. I'm adaptable.
Exactly. I have learned something.
I've learned something that will now be a party trick once.
Yes.
Probably.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It is. I'll probably start wrapping the episode down, mostly just because I know I could talk to you for another hour or two.
Absolutely, man. I get
about all these topics. Before we do, I do want to make sure to say, I think there's a great privilege of being able to do this podcast and to show when men and dads care deeply about something, and for them to express it on here is a privilege that I don't take lightly. And so sincerely, thank you for letting me know about your adoption story.
Absolutely.
All of the whirlwind that came with that, and just respect. Just thank you so much for trusting me with that story, because I've never heard a story like that before. And I can only imagine how many more emotions you felt in all of that, that hopefully you've got a therapist who you've been able to process it with, because it's a lot for you. It's a lot for you to hold.
I'm seeing him tomorrow, by the way. Devin, one note on that, because I know you need to wrap, but if there are any potential prospective dads that listen to this episode out there one day and you have considered adoption or you're curious about adoption, I am open to being contacted. So I just wanted to communicate that to your listeners.
Awesome.
Because I know it can be a tricky conversation. So if anybody's listening to this, whether it's tomorrow or whenever it comes out or a year down the road, just know I'm an open book and I can be an advocate and offer support if you're looking for that. So I just wanted to share that because it's changed my life.
Yeah, that's sweet. That's awesome. Thank you. Okay, so to the questions. So ask 5 questions of every guest. They're pretty lighthearted and fun. First one is, did you have any backup names for your kids? Did you have anything as you were driving to Shreveport? Did you guys, I know you said like an hour out, you came up with the name, but what was on like the backup list? What was on the we almost named her this list?
Winnie was high on the list. I'm a Wonder Years. I grew up watching the Wonder Years. Probably my first crush was Winnie. Anyway, I've always loved that name. But when I saw Remy, it was Remy. It was just, it just was. So that was a backup for her. And I think we had a couple others, kind of foggy right now. With Glory, we had a long list. Trying to think of like what a front runner was. Oh man, I'm drawing blanks in the moment, man.
You're good. You're good.
I wish I had a better answer there. I remember Winnie for Remy.
Yeah.
But I can't envision
you'll
Glory
think of
being...
it the second we sign off the call, you'll think of it and message me.
I will.
It's just how it'll work out.
Mira was one for Glory. Hart was one.
Hart? Okay, nice.
Hart, which I still like that one a lot.
Yeah.
Those two. Yeah.
Cool. What'd you do for middle names? Did you go like family route for middle names?
Yeah, we went with biological family
Yeah.
names for middle names. Remy's middle name is Lynn, which is her biological mother's middle name. And Glory's middle name is Brooks, which is the biological parent's last name.
Cool.
Yeah.
Nice. I think names are fascinating. I think to me, they kind of like set you up for, I think they set you up for a unique path of life
I
because that's
agree.
what you're called for the rest of your life. So I
Yeah.
just find it
My wife
fascinating.
could go do a whole podcast about her name being Tyne
Yes.
and how that has impacted her life. So
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah. Next question. Who's like your favorite TV or movie dad? Or what comes to mind whenever I say favorite TV or movie dad?
That's hard.
You are quite a lover of film.
I am. I love, I don't know if I'd say my favorite, but a film that just like burrowed into my brain and soul. And like, I honestly think about it every day. And it's not because I want to maybe be like this person, but After Sun, The Father and After Sun, that film, if you haven't seen the film,
I haven't.
top five if you're a dad.
Okay.
Yeah, just a very moving film about a father-daughter relationship. But like one I would aspire to be, that's hard, man. Trying to think like TV shows.
Yeah.
I like a lot of like dark television stuff and movies, so probably not the best.
Listen, Dexter was a great dad. Walter White, he did everything for his family.
I loved Dexter. I haven't watched the new version. I mean, everybody probably says Bandit from Bluey, and I mean,
yeah,
he is amazing. His presence with his kids,
Yeah. Phil Dunphy from Modern Family is the other common answer.
Dude, that's a great one.
Yeah.
That is a great one.
Next question. What's your replacement curse word?
Dude, I'm
terrible.
terrible.
Or do you just say it?
I'm terrible at this, man. Like, my language.
It's the most common answer, just so you know, to go ahead and remove your guilt. The most common answer is I just say the curse word and hope the kids don't say it at school later. That is the most common answer.
You know what
for
I've
this.
kind of adopted is under my breath. Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness.
Like when I'm in a moment of exasperation with my kids, like, and Tyne's like, watch it, and I'm like, you're right. You're right. But my daughter's, replacement word is from Bluey, biscuits. Like when she
biscuits is so good.
When she gets frustrated, she does it all on her own. She'll just go biscuits. I'm like, I love it. It's great.
My son the other month was playing a board game with a kid who's the same age as him. And whenever they both would be losing it, they go, biscuits. And I'm like,
so good.
So cute. It's so good.
But yeah, oh my goodness, under my breath is like.
And then your wife looks at you and is like, hey, I know what comes next. So center, calm it down.
Yep. Bring it down.
Bring it down a little bit. Next question. What is like one of your favorite like toys or activities that you play with your girls?
Oh man, I struggle with imaginary play. I'll just throw that out. Like,
you're way too analytical for it. I get it.
Yeah. It's like, there's that parenting meme of like pretending to be a tugboat when you're sad. And I'm like, I share that meme every time because I'm like, that's so accurate. But I love to be outdoors with my kids. And I love being outdoors. I've always been that way. Anything. Like we have a place in East Tennessee. We were just there over spring break. We went hiking. I love it. They love it. It's strangely like they go right along with it.
Yeah.
Remy's really into basketball right now, so we've been shooting hoops a lot, which is super fun. Glory's not quite there yet, obviously.
Yeah.
But yeah, just being outdoors and being in nature at the lake, any sport that they want to do, I love doing any of that with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's because it requires like, you can't, if you're on a hike and you're on your phone, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
That's
why I love hiking. It forces me out of that, right? It's like, we're fishing or, because our place in East Tennessee is on a lake. So it's like when I go there, it's just we're in like rural nature, so.
Yep. That's awesome.
That would probably be it.
Sweet. And then, okay, last question. I'll let you choose. I'll give you two. You can either answer both of them or choose which one you want. So it is either least favorite kids show or moment of your kid's life you're most excited to like see them enter into that phase of life.
I can probably do both. Least favorite.
Okay, let's do both. Yeah,
least favorite
kid show.
And we kept it from them for so long, Devin, and I was so proud of ourselves. Blippi. I can't stand it. Like
we've never dived into Blippi. I've been able to avoid it for all three kids so far.
They found it on their
worst.
own, and anyway, no offense to the Blippi fans out there, but
it just doesn't it's a common answer. People like, it just doesn't sit right. There's just something about Blippi. It just doesn't. I'm not a fan.
I don't like it when people dumb down things for kids. Kids are humans, just like you and I. Like, you don't have to. I mean, you do.
Hey there, Ryan. How are you today?
Yeah. I mean, you do have to. You do, but you don't. Do you know what I mean? It's like
you use language that they can comprehend.
Yes.
But to create a character, I understand the intent of creating a character that kids can learn from. Totally understand that. I think kids are smarter than you think.
I agree. And I think
you should respect them.
The person that strikes the balance of how that works is Ms. Rachel. Huge fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
Follow her on socials if you don't. She is incredible.
Yes.
She should be the president of the United States. Anyway, that's my rant on her. But moments for my kids that I would be, phrase that again, most excited by?
Yeah, most excited. Like whenever you're thinking about like your kid's life as they get older, is there any like moment of life, phase of life, you're like, man, I can't wait until you enter into this phase of life?
Honestly, kind of the phase I'm in with Remy right now. Like 6 years old to me, there's like, it's like a light turns on.
Yeah.
And, you know, you're pouring all this energy and effort into your kids and you're like, is this working? And 6 years old to me was the age where I was like, it's working. You know, it's like, I see these, I don't know. Short answer to your question, I think, is just them finding what they love. To me, that is the most exciting part of being a parent, whatever that is. And that's going to look like multiple things throughout their life, right? Whatever they find and love and pursue, that's what I'm most interested in for both of them.
Yeah. Which is like the sweetest answer, and hopefully just sets like I love asking that question because it sets like the reminder to your own self of like, I need to make sure to be present for whatever my kid is present for, because it might change every single hour. It might change every day, but it matters to them in this moment. And I hopefully am here for this moment so I can understand what matters to them.
Totally. I'm 100% on track with you on that, man.
And then last thing for you is just like moment for self-promotion. So like socials, your band, all that good stuff.
Yeah, self-promotion. Well, you know, strangely was not anticipated. The band that I moved to Nashville to be in, Celebrity, we recently reconvened. We don't really have any sort of structure around it or finite plans. We've left it as an open book, but we are playing, if you're in Nashville, on April 10th at the End. We're donating all the money from the show to the End to help them keep their doors open.
Cool. Yeah.
If you're not from Nashville, the End is a DIY independent music venue. If you know anything about the music industry, those places are dying.
Yep.
I'm a punk rock guy at heart. I want to keep this place open, and it was a good reason for us to get back together. And so that's kind of my shameless self-promotion. If you want to come out to the show, we're on track to sell it out, which is super cool. 20 years later.
Yeah.
You know, possibly new music from in parallel as well, maybe this year. And Hopesfall, who knows? We have an EP that's done, that's been done for 6 years, that's just sitting on Equal Vision's shelf, I assume, digital shelf.
Yeah.
I would love to see that come out sometime, but that's what I've got going on musically right now.
Nice. Yeah. I always like remember moving to Nashville, the first time finding the End. Because whenever I'm from Indiana originally, and like I just assumed Nashville's all country music and CCM. And then finding the End was like, what is this space? This is raw. This is like the church basements I went to see shows at whenever I was growing up, but better.
In the best possible way. And Bruce, who runs it, is just,
cool.
He's in it for the right reasons. So
yeah, that's awesome. Once again, sincerely, thank you for your time. Thanks for being willing to do this. And yeah, man, enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks for doing this. I really appreciate it.
Man, thanks for having me, man. It's super fun to talk about this stuff.
Perfect. I think so too. And enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too, Devin. Thanks so much, man.
All right,
buddy.
See you, Ryan. Appreciate it, man. Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to the episode. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at the Imperfect Dads Podcast. And make sure to give us 5 stars wherever you listen to us. Music, editing, and production is all done by me. Make sure to tune in on Mondays and most Thursdays for new episodes. This podcast is part of the Never a Phase Network. Make sure to go to neverafphasenetwork.com to learn more about them.